Hello and welcome. I'm Charles Aite. The oil marketing companies will be increasing the prices of petrol and diesel by 3 and 4% in response to rising costs of the commodity on the world market. Brent crude is currently selling at $103 per barrel, the highest in the last 7 years. And in line with the deregulation policy, the OMCs are expected to adjust prices. Joy Business is learning that petrol could increase by 4.6%, moving a litre to 8 cedis 12 pesos, while diesel will sell at 8 cedis 2 pesos. And the weakening cedi against the dollar, global demand, and the ongoing Russia invasion of Ukraine have been blamed for the rise. Duncan Amwa is Executive Secretary of COPEC, and he joins us on this. Duncan, grateful that you could join us. Of course, petrol around 8 cedis 12 pesos per litre to increase by about 4.6%. The same with diesel. How can we reverse this trend? Duncan, if you could hear me, of course, we keep experiencing a hike in fuel prices over the past few weeks. It begs the question, though, how can this be reversed?
Well, you are talking of a situation where Ghana is gaining on the international market as far as your crude export is concerned. Government is not ready from the little interaction with them to reduce taxes. Government can, on the second leg, apply the windfall revenues that we are getting to the BDCs and let them stay prices at least for the month of March. If that happens, then you can see some stability in prices. Anything other than this, it means that the BDC will have to pay what is really spot. And then the cedi also depreciating means that they will be taking a double hit. Eventually, that is being passed on to the OMC and will be passed on at the pump. The only way out, apply part of the windfall revenue that you are getting, because crude today is over $100. You budgeted or projected some $61.25 for 2022. It means that anything beyond that is excess revenue that could be applied to cushion consumers if we want to.
Of course, COPEC has forecasted. You did forecast the increase somewhere, of course, in March, which, of course, we're experiencing across various pumps. How can the situation be in terms of your forecast till the end of this year? Should situations continue the way they are currently?
Normally, for March, you would find fuel prices declining from February, because after the Christmas importation and travel, aviation system, traffic, and all of that, you would be expecting that prices would have been declining around this time of the year. But sadly, it is rather going up due to geopolitical influences. We do not see any easing down anytime soon, especially now that the Russia-Ukrainian tension is taking a different twist altogether, with EU threatening to join in. It is likely that for the month of March, Ghanaians will probably pay very high. If nothing is also done by government, April would see prices even going higher. The 9 Ghana cedi per litre is something that we'll probably foresee by the end of this month, March.
But you've been engaging the OMCs. What are they telling you regarding the current situation on the ground?
There's a lot of pressure on OMC capital. As far as we talk to them or interact with them, the increase on the international market, together with the depreciation of the cedi, means that if you could buy 40,000 metric previously, now you could do about 30,000, because everything is so high. Yes, their trading funds probably has not seen that corresponding increase. So there's quite a squeeze on their part. They are doing everything they can not to pass on the full effect of these increases, but clearly somebody has got to take a shave at some point, and sadly it will come down to the consumer, who would have to pay more at the pump eventually.
Well, but beyond this particular concern that most of them have been raising, we've been speaking to some experts who also tell us the fact that there is a windfall actually, because as you rightly stated, the upstream sector is really benefiting from what is going on across the global, oil price hike. Why is government not moving up then? Of course, we've been interacting with, stakeholders along this line. What are they telling you in terms of what's informing their choices to cushion consumers?
What the government seems to be very excited about is the revenue inflow. What the government fails to get is that this is going to hurt the government itself way much more than the revenue that it thinks it is saving currently. Government, as we have pointed out, continues to buy from the same market we all buy from. They do not import fuel. And so once OMC prices go up, it means that their consumption figures would also go up. Revenue that they are probably saving would all be used to buy fuel for the police, for the security agencies, for the executive, legislature, the judiciary, who also deserve fueling. I'm talking of Article 71 office holders across board would equally have to consume, and government would bear the brunt thereafter. It would be wiser, if you ask, that government applies the windfall now to stay prices so that the government itself does not overshoot its own expenditure at the end of the accounting year, because it is also going to pay the same market prices that the average person is paying for. It's a chicken and egg. Which comes first? The government has got to take a decision on that. But we would advise that the windfall is not rather treated as some additional revenue that government probably should fall on and use for other things. Use it to subsidize fuel prices across board for consumers within the country. That will be a win-win situation for the government itself and the entirety of the general public.
Duncan Amwa, we're grateful that you could join us. Here's with Colpec there with his submission on the fuel prices and their prediction of a possible increase this month of March. Away from that, Ghana's traders community is denying claims that Ukraine-Russia conflict will see a hike in freight charges in the country. Of course, let's take a listen to, let's bring on board the president of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obin, who says the Russian aggression has, even though attracted severe economic sanctions from the West and European Union, of course, igniting specific economic hardships around the globe will not have a definite impact here in Ghana. He joins us via Zoom. Doc, we're grateful that you could join us. When you say that the Russia-Ukraine conflict is not impacting freight charges, what do you mean? Doc, if you could kindly unmute so we could hear you better. The question we're trying to understand is whether or not, we want to engage you when you say that the Russia-Ukraine conflict is not impacting freight charges. What exactly do you mean?
No, it depends on the destinations that one plies his trade. Most of our people ply their trade in the Far East. In that case, the impact will be minimized. But for those who ply their trade in Europe, especially because the impact in Europe is very high, and that one will definitely affect those traders who ply their trade in that corridor. So it depending on where you are applying your, but overall, coming from the wake of the COVID, where logistics became a problem to induce the prices of freight charges. If the flow of containers in that corridor is also curtailed, then definitely it will have some impact on the freight charges. But for now, it hasn't reflected. But if it continues and it curtails the flow of the containers to the Far East again, then it will happen like it happened in the COVID, the peak of the COVID. It means that we are going to have problems with logistics such as containers. Yeah. And then for the general economy, you know that once this thing is impacting on fuel prices, government will then have to have more cedis or dollars to go and buy this forest. And then, you know, we are about to settle our the foreign exchange program, but now this has also come to play, and this is what make businesses shake at this time. Yeah.
But beyond this, in what particular way has the current conflict impacted Ghana's trading community?
Yeah, it depends on what one is dealing. You know, that area is very noted with wheat products. It means that flour and maybe the iron rods and all that. So depending on the items that come from that corridor is going to affect negatively on those who ply their trade through that corridor, especially with wheat-related items. Yeah.
Dr. Albin, we're grateful that you could join us. He's president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association there. President Akufo-Addo has justified government's intent for the electronic levy, insisting it is in the public interest that the proposed levy be enacted into law to improve the country's tax-to-GDP ratio on an equitable basis. He said the E-levy was an innovative fiscal measure that would shore up Ghana's fiscal profile and raise the funds needed for the speedy transformation of the economy.
We have to make concerted efforts as partners to hasten our recovery from COVID-19 by finding intelligent ways of bringing everyone on board to contribute their quota, no matter how small. Government, on its part, is implementing a policy of cutting the budgets of ministries, departments, and agencies by 20% this year as its contribution to measures to ensure fiscal consolidation. Ghana's tax to GDP ratio of 12.2% compares unfavorably with our peers the world over. The average tax to GDP ratio in West Africa stands at 18%, and indeed, the recommended ratio for ECOWAS member states is a minimum of 20%. The average for OECD countries is 34%. It is thus no wonder that American, German, French, Japanese, and British peoples, amongst others, can readily find the means to fund their own development, particularly their infrastructural development. There is an urgent need to enhance significantly our capacity for domestic revenue mobilization to realize our development potential, create opportunities for our vibrant and dynamic youth, and deliver improved livelihoods for our fellow citizens. We cannot continue to allow less than 10%, specifically 7.8%, i.e. 2.4 million people of the population carry the direct tax burden of 30.8 million people. We must provide an opportunity for every Ghanaian to contribute towards nation building. The proposed E-levy is one such innovative fiscal measure which will help improve our tax to GDP ratio on an equitable basis.
You're still watching The Marketplace. As part of our Ghana Month series, we revisit a report by Beverly Brum, on some Ghanaian goods dying on the market as we speak in modern times. Take a look.
These were the most sought-after products from way back. Yomo for beautifying the hair, Azuma blows for its durability, just to mention a few. But what is the situation with these products on the markets now? Auntie Moda has sold locally made soap known as Azuma Blows, or better still, Don't Touch Me, for the past 10 years. She tells me that even though the introduction of other soap products posed a threat to the Azuma Blow soap, it is still well patronized.
But first but later now we
It used to be a very popular soap until new products were introduced to the market. But this time, sales is not bad at all due to the expensive nature of the small soap. It leaves clothes very clean when it's used for washing. Bar operators also buy it more.
Bar for so edisi normal into some fine. You were 1 cedi and you were 2 cedis.
Do you remember the famous Erefa fish? Well, Auntie Kai still had some in stock when we visited her stand.
I'm here, small Kuba, me babioshi. Why war Kaswa market, hello Agbogronshi market.
Customers purchase it a lot. We normally get supply from Kaswa or Agbogronshi. It comes at a particular season and goes off the market until after 2 to 3 years. It is normally used to prepare groundnut soup or ambishi.
If I send it back home, I can feel no fair, no cat your own can't peshy. Oba bohe, skin over J. Call J here, skin, I can share city vahi. None in here, ya 8 cities, so maybe 10 cities.
Even though the use of blender has dominated in many homes, earthenware bowl business seems to be doing well. The aluminium earthenware bowl is more expensive than the clay. It lasts longer, and people mostly buy and export it outside the country because of its lightweight and durability. It is still very popular in the market.
I work outside. When I can wear me here.
During our interview, we met Spa Willie. He's been making clay ovens for the past 20 years. He couldn't help but to share with us how the latest trend of gas ovens has crippled his business.
I came to Malamata Market because a woman called me to build a clay oven for her. She was asking me why my business has gone down, and I told her it's because people have adopted a new way of baking bread with gas ovens. It has really crippled my business. I am advising that we go back to our traditional way of baking bread, which is healthier.
For the Queen Mother of Malamata Market, Asafwanye Obedei II, she blamed the media for making our local product unpopular. It's a blessing to eat in an earthenware bowl because of its sand component. But now people prefer to use blenders, and the sale of earthenware bowls has gone down. Many people beyond 70 apply dye to their hair, but our traditional dye, known in the Ga parlance as Yomo, has been rejected. Rather, we prefer the foreign product. If someone visits your home and sees you grinding on a stone, you will be considered as a cake person, and if care is not taken, they will put you on social media.
19th century person.
The media is killing us.
We are just begging the press. Let's go back. Please, let's go back and bring our traditional things again.
Some buyers shared their opinion with Joy Business.
When we were growing up, we already had them in our homes, so we know the uses of it. That we don't go out of our way to go and buy these old stuff, because perhaps the modern ones are more convenient, time saving and all that. So we prefer buying the modern ones.
I remember the Don't Touch Me, the Azuma Blues. Don't Touch Me is this round carbolic soap. Is like an acidic soap we used to wash. Those days some use it to bath. So I remember those ones.
And when was the last time you bought any of those things?
No, I can't remember. I can't remember. But I think the last time I went shopping, I saw it around. People still use them. Yeah. I would want us to bring back all those healthy living. It was healthy anyway, but today you see us eating junks. It's not helping. Yeah, so if they say we should bring it back, then they should bring the things and they will also follow.
There's no doubt that our tradition lives on, regardless of the introduction of modernization. For Joy Business, I am Beverly Groom.
And we shall bring you more of the Ghana Month series in our subsequent bulletins. You're still watching The Marketplace. We're going for a short break. We'll be right back. Do stay with us. You're welcome back. 280 women are undergoing a special business mentorship program meant to economically empower them as well as enhance their trade. The 6-month training program is spearheaded by a local financial institution, Sinapiaba Savings and Loans, to address the issue of unemployment and poor business practices, especially in the informal sector. Emmanuel Osei was at the launch of the 3rd edition.
The Sinapiaba Mentorship Program, launched in 2020, is meant to economically empower women, especially in the informal sector. 9 male mentees were enrolled in this year's program. CEO Tony Fosu says the growth of SMEs is critical to Ghana's economic growth, hence the need to assist them.
By their trade, by their manufacturing endeavors and experiences and small businesses, these are the people that hold the economies of the communities. Financial institutions, banks, savings and loans institutions, and others owe the responsibility to support these ones to grow their businesses. But what we learned is it is not only in financial services in giving them credit or helping them to do deposit, but particularly giving them training, giving them knowledge in basic bookkeeping, accounting, practical to their level of appreciation and understanding.
He said this at the launch of the 3rd edition of the mentorship program dubbed Mentoring the Next Generation of Great Women, held in Kumasi. The mentorship is expected to last for 6 months, where experienced businesswomen will train emerging business persons on how to expand and grow their ventures. Marian Jemfi is a program coordinator for this year.
The impact is felt directly in their families, in their businesses, in their communities, and the nation at large. Because here is somebody who may be timid, but after the impact through our training, because we do capacity building, then we also do networking among themselves, because it's a nationwide program. And then we also train their attitude, for instance, how they can serve their customers.
The first cohort under the mentorship program trained 150 women, while the second trained 225. Philippa Pia, a participant in a previous cohort, is now a mentor. She shares her experience.
I do bees making, bread making, drinks. I do a lot of things. As I started my business, it wasn't good at all. I didn't know how to manage my customers, how to manage my records. But since I joined the mentor program, I've been able to manage my customers, how I talk to them, manage my business and recording of my books and everything. I have been able to do it.
Sinapiaba Savings and Loans hopes to sustain the nationwide mentorship program to ensure growth in the informal sector. From Kumasi, Emmanuel Osei reporting.
And we have more stories on myjoyonline.com. My name is Charles Aite. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs.